here in Kansas City with Josh Ians at Columbus Park Ramen, right next door to his Happy Gillis, which is a very happy place indeed. And when this spot opened, it also made folks pretty ecstatic. What made you want to get into ramen?
So we bought Happy Gillis about 2 years ago and finally fulfilled our dream of having our own place, my wife and I. So with it came a small attached garage space that the previous owner had used for retail soup to go. For us, the space was made for a ramen shop. Is kind of the way we looked at it. Is we just kept coming back to it. It's something we all wanted and we felt like we needed in Kansas City that didn't exist.
And it's a tiny menu. It's ramen and some pickles.
That's it. Yeah. So you come here if you want one thing, which I feel like is starting to happen more and more across the country. People focusing in on one thing instead of trying to be the let's be everything to everybody mentality, because that just doesn't work.
It's also very Japanese to only have one thing on the menu.
All ramens pretty much have 4 parts. So there's the broth, which is kind of the heart and soul of the dish, and that's where each chef can kind of interject their touch, and everyone does it a little bit different. And then you have what's called the tare, which is how you season the broth. So you hear words like shio, shoyu, miso, those are referring to the tare. And then the other components will obviously be the noodles. Anything else that we decide to put on top to garnish, to eat it with, are the 4 basic components, and there's obviously any combination of those, however you want to do it, to sort of make it your own.
You have 4 different ramens on the menu, and you're actually going to show us all 4.
So let's start with the mushroom. So this is our miso tare, and then the other part of the tare is going to be usually an aromatic fat. So since this one's vegan, we use a black garlic oil. And then we'll go ahead and grab our noodles.
Well, so let's discuss the noodle, because it's really important that it's a specific kind of noodle that's very alkaline, right?
It's what gives it its characteristic texture and somewhat of the flavor. More importantly, it does something to the protein structure that I don't think anybody really knows. It makes the ramen noodle a perfect candidate for hanging out in really hot soup and not just sort of disintegrating.
What, for example, are you using in your mushroom broth?
Well, we wanted it to be super mushroomy. So we use a lot of dried shiitakes and then roasted oyster mushrooms. Anything else on the menu, we save all those stems, make a really aromatic broth.
And that's it.
So that's the mushroom. So we have 2 chicken-based ramen. So let's start with the shoyu. And this is, to me, a good baseline ramen. It's basically chicken noodle soup with a little bit of an Asian accent. Free-range Amish chicken. The famous egg, some dashi, which is a Japanese master stock. We really like the flavor of those 2 together.
Oh, that's great. That is a beautiful bowl. I've tried to do this before and I've never been very successful at it.
As soon as you put the noodles in the broth, they get worse. They don't get better. So the idea is to eat that quickly and then drink down your broth.
I always just shove it all in my mouth.
Well, that works too.
I got it in there.
That was good.
That was not bad. So you're gonna do the kimchi chicken next.
Kimchi with a chicken base, but it also has pork in it. It's got a lot of stuff going on.
If you've never had kimchi before, it's fermented cabbage with this wonderful, like almost chili puree kind of on it. And I mean, I can just eat it and eat it.
It's so good. So this bowl is garnished with sausage that's made locally for us. We'll go in with the same base as the shoyu, which is a chicken and dashi blend.
Just looking at that, if you've never had a bowl of ramen before, being served that, I'm sure people are like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, you know, people have this idea that ramen is something that you eat when you're poor and it should cost 25 cents. We're trying to communicate to people that it's like a very nuanced dish, lots of complexity, and so just to try to change that mindset, I think is challenging. To me, it should be something that appeals to everybody.
Okay, so tonkatsu is next.
So we use the miso tare for this one as well. And then this is a chili, garlic, sesame, anchovy paste. It's got lots of stuff going on. This is bonito salt that we make. And this is what's called jowl bacon. So it has a smoky quality, which for Kansas City, smoke is obviously something that's important. Tonkatsu means pork bone. It's a stock that's cooked for 24 hours and it's cooked at a rolling boil the whole time. So it's really sticky, it's really porky, it's really rich. So if that's not your thing, like, don't get the tonkatsu because it's pretty serious. So that's our tonkatsu.
Every single one of them is good, Josh. You don't need to have a bigger menu because it's all perfect.
we're trying to develop a ramen culture in America. And so I try to remind people it's like barbecue. Like, we're trying to figure out what does it mean to make ramen in Kansas City? What does that look like? I don't think we've figured it all out, but I think we're kind of on a journey to figuring it out. And it should taste different because we're using different products and we're different people. And I feel like cooking should reflect a lot of who you are as a person. We're just trying to be true to ourselves and have a little bit of fun along the way and make good food. To me, that's what makes it more interesting.